sir.
All right, all right. All right, guys. Well, once again, here we are, the TNT podcast. We're back again. I'm Tyler Layfield. This is Torrez Finney. And how's it going, Torrez? I know you got some big news to share.
Yeah, I'm going good, man. Going good. Yeah, just actually woke up from a nap.
Uh-oh.
Man, yeah, I've been tired. So, yeah, I'm doing good, man. Feeling good, feeling good. Just been training. Been in fight camp for the last 6 weeks. So, almost about to dial it down. We are under 3 weeks. We're about, I don't know, few days. 16? Not 16, 17, 18 days away. So, yeah, man, we're getting close. So, I'm excited.
It's coming and it's coming quick. And I know that you just released the name of the opponent that you're going to be fighting. And it's LJ. What's the last name?
I've heard it multiple ways. I've heard it Porte. I've heard Portilla. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, I dude up on I was able to. I just watched one fight just to kind of get a little view on it. Most interesting thing I saw about that fight was his opponent came out in a Jason mask. And I liked that a lot. I thought that was a pretty cool little twist he did on his intro. But he ended up losing that one. At that point, he was 7-5, and he lost that when he went to 7-6. And I know since then he's now evened it out. He's 7-7, if I'm not mistaken, looking at it. And during that fight, they mentioned a statistic. I want to say they said from all I want to say 6 of his 7 wins were knockouts, if I'm not mistaken. So it sounds like this guy's more of a stand up, want to play this one, not on the ground. It seems that's just how I'm kind of catching the vibe, and he wants to turn this one into a fist fight to a certain degree. Is that the kind of vibe you're catching from it, or what have you seen in your evaluation? Since I know you've done some digging, right? You've watched some film on this
Y'all,
dude.
y'all already know I do my research, but
Oh
yes,
yeah.
I actually yes, he's more of a stand up on the feet guy. He's got power. He's short, so he's very explosive. But
What's his height?
it says 5'8". It says 5'8".
Oh man, this might be closest dude to you in quite some
It
time.
is. It is. This is actually the closest guy, shortest guy I've ever fought. This would be interesting because it's very, very rare we'll see two guys about the same height, in a
Yeah.
185 weight class. But this would be really interesting. He's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, so he has some understandable things on the ground. So am I. I'm a purple belt. So
Mhm.
it'll be an interesting matchup. We went through a lot of guys, man. We went through 36 guys, man. So until we got to one, so we finally got a guy in, and he's coming in. He said he's coming in to take me out. He told the matchmaker, "You will be surprised." Everybody knows what I'm going there to do. I'm going there to smash. I'm going there to dominate. I'm going there to do what I do best, and that is just going there and dominate everything, all aspects, on the feet, on the ground, regardless of wherever the fight goes. I'm ready. So I'm pumped about this. Great opportunity. It'll be August
Mhm.
4th in front of. So August 5th is UFC Nashville. So UFC Nashville. We knew about this date about 2 months ago, and the purpose of this card was to get this card in front of the UFC staff. So some of the UFC staff will be there live to watch the fight. So that'll be
Okay.
really cool and really interesting. So that was the purpose of really this fight. And there's a lot of good fights on this card as well. So I'm pumped and I'm ready to go.
Who's on that card for UFC Nashville?
The main event on that card is Umar Nurmagomedov versus Corey Sandhagen. They the main event.
Okay.
That's gonna be a heck of a
Yeah,
fight.
so that'll definitely have some people in town. So this will be kind of a prelim to the prelims, like
Yeah, that's
it
right.
used to
That's
be. So
right.
for people coming in, to go watch those fights, they can come by and and see you and all the rest of the people on that one. So yeah, I'm looking at the card now. Yeah, like you said, Nurmagomedov, Sanhagen, Jessica Andrade's in that one. Trying to see if there's anybody else that's coming to mind. Just that I've seen. Billy Quarantillo, I like him now.
Portillo, yes, he is he's a fan favorite as well. That's gonna
OSP.
be, yes. I've heard that could potentially be his last ever fight. He
Oh
have his last
man.
ever fight in Tennessee potentially. Can't I'm not confirming or denying, but
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
also have one or obviously it's Habib's cousin, but also Umar Nurmagomedov's cousin, said Nurmagomedov
Yes, I'm
in the
seeing
same
that.
said weight class. He's fighting Colin Phillips. Odie Osborne, I've trained with him in Vegas at Extreme Couture. He's really good. He's fighting that card, and so yeah, you got some names on this card, man. And I'm actually pretty excited. It's gonna be and then it's funny. OSP is going against Ayan Kutalaba. I've trained with Ayan Kutalaba in Vegas
I
as
remember you
well.
telling me about him.
That'll be so. That's really cool that they're fighting each other. So yeah, it's a solid card, man. You got a lot of good guys. Tanner Bozer is on that card, so that's gonna be it's not as many names as certain people know. Obviously, besides the main event, OSP and Kutalaba and some of the Margaretto, some of those guys, and Billy, but those to be the type of card that'll smack, and
Yeah.
And it's in an arena in Bridgestone Arena. It'll be really good.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, so that's definitely something to watch. In the coming weeks. Go ahead.
Question: Did you? So we missed last week, but
Yeah,
the week prior to that, that was UFC 290. All right, you
watched a
say
good
you
bit.
watched that card? Yeah,
Oh man, that was a blast.
that
Me
was
and Dad were watching that. We were
card.
down in Florida. Dad and I were streaming that. Now those fights were fun,
They were
man.
bangers. They were
Yeah,
bangers.
and we stayed up because it starts getting when it starts getting so late, you got to cut it off at some point. So I did not get to watch the Volkanovski fight. I
Well, he
know that
finished the fight.
probably
He finished
yeah
it, but it was good. It was really
yeah, but to end on the Pantoja and Moreno fight, oh my God, that was a fun fight. That
that
was
was
a
a
fun
great
fight.
fight,
I
man.
found myself really rooting for Pantoja there,
I
and
understand.
man,
That was a great fight, man. Like
it
all
was a
around.
really good one. I was
I,
texting you. I was texting Jordan during that time. I was like, he's going to win this, right? I mean, because the thing was the suspicion I had. And let me go back to this card just so I'm telling you the right things. Because earlier in that, it was one of those earlier fights. One of the judges. I don't know who that first judge was, but I was not really agreeing. Whoever the first one was, when they read them off, he had done ruled for somebody in another
oh,
fight,
oh,
but I was
oh,
like, that didn't make sense. It may have
oh,
been
oh,
before.
Dan Hooker, the Dan Hooker fight.
Yeah, the Dan Hooker fight. He had Jalen Turner winning that one. I'm just like,
Well, no, no, no. Well, the fight was close. No, no,
it was
I
close,
it
but
was
I thought he
close.
did enough.
I mean, I
Who
can.
would you have ruled? Who would you have ruled then?
No,
Hooker or
Dan
Turner?
Hooker won the fight.
That's
I'm
what
not
I'm saying.
denying
So
that.
why would you even? I don't
But no,
know.
no, no, no. So that's the thing with a split decision. A split decision means like, well, obviously you know what split decision. That means one
Yeah,
judge goes one way
didn't go
while
the other
two
way.
judges
Yeah.
go another way. So it was that close of a fight where you could have leaned towards oh,
I
what's his
thought those
name?
last two rounds were pretty
What's his name?
definitive. There's
Black
Jalen
guy.
Turner.
Jalen Turner. Yeah, yeah. So like the thing is with Jalen Turner though, it depends on how you gave him the second round. Because I know a lot of
Yeah, the
people
second round was closer than the third.
the
Yeah.
second round was the close round to where some people thought it was one way. Now I think one of the judges had made a mistake and gave. I think I'm gonna have to look this up. I don't want to just say something crazy, but I
Mm-hmm.
think one of the judges had given like Dan Hooker almost every round, and
Yeah,
I
see, now that's too far on the spectrum. I think he did enough to at least win two rounds. Not that first round though.
yeah.
From what we call Hooker's been known, man. I really like watching some of his fights, man. He's just a gritty dude. But yeah, I was glad to see him win it. What'd you think while you're looking that up? If you can handle this while you're looking
Yeah,
that up, what'd you think of?
'cause a lot of people thought Jalen Turner got robbed. I didn't think he got
Yeah, I
robbed,
don't know.
but I mean, it
I
was
didn't
that
think
type of
that.
close of a fight. But I
It
didn't
was
think.
close, but I didn't think it was like where you could you could say it's rigged or something like that. I don't see that part, but
No, 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 not rigged, but like so when they say robbed, that means the
oh,
judge just
robbed. Yeah, my bad. Wrong terminology.
yeah,
Robbed.
yeah, the
Yeah, but
judge screwed him.
robbed. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't quite see
I
it.
thought Jalen Turner did enough. I mean, it depends on who you gave that second round to, because that second round is
Yeah.
very debatable. But
Mm-hmm.
but now I know a lot of people that thought Moreno slightly got robbed. I did not.
Well, I could see that one coming because
Mhm.
I don't know just how that stuff is judged. You know, you oftentimes see the guy that's the I feel like who's the the reigning champion kind of get a little bit of a little leeway.
Mhm.
And you could have maybe said it, but I thought Pantoja had done enough. That
I
was a
thought
really good
Pinocchio
fight.
did enough as well. Oh, no
Yeah.
question. It was just I just really was shocked to hear when one of the judges had given So both judges, it was two judges. That's the one. Two judges gave Pantoja 48-47. One judge gave Moreno 49-46. That means Moreno had won 4 out of the 5 rounds in that fight.
No chance.
Not a chance. Exactly.
Probably that first judge again. Because
do they read it in
it was the first judge. Yeah, do they read it in that same order every time? Because if that's true,
not every time. Not every time.
Okay,
it was the same
first
judge.
in the Jalen Turner fight. He's the one that went for Jalen Turner, and then the first judge I remember in the Pantoja fight. He's the one that went with Moreno. But
yeah, the judge he gave Moreno.
That was close enough. I could have seen Moreno maybe pulling it out. I wouldn't have been shocked if the judges gave it to him, but.
Not Moreno didn't win no 4 rounds to 1.
No, like, no 4 rounds. But I could honestly, when it ended, I could have seen a potential reality where the judges ended up ruling split decision in favor of Moreno somehow. I'm not gonna say the 4 round, but besides those, what about the Whitaker and Duplessis fight?
Man, now you want to talk about something that is shocking, bro?
Good.
That shocked me. Everybody in their mama picked Whitaker. And I do know a few people online that did pick Duplessis, but I was surprised because I've watched nearly all of Duplessis' fights, and you want to talk about a brother that looks sloppy? He looks sloppy every fight. He looks sloppy. I mean, when he fought Brunson, it was sloppy. When he fought Darren Till, it was sloppy. Like, they ain't been a fight where, like, Duplessis has just put me over the top of anyone. Mm-hmm. But the fact that he went in there, not only beat Whitaker, but knocked him out. That's something nobody ain't done. The only person that have done that is Izzy. In the last few years, Whitaker has dominated the top 5 besides Izzy for the last few years for a long time. Heck, Whitaker went freaking he went 10 rounds with Yoel Romero. That's 50 minutes. You went 10 rounds with Yoel Romero. Like, come on. Like, this man has fought monster after monster after monster. And it was shocking to see Duplessis be the one to put him down in the second round. So it was shocking. Whitaker still looked good early, but I just don't know, man. That was just shocking to my eyes to see him go down like that. So
if I'm recalling right, because it has been a little bit, but didn't at one point, I'm not gonna say this was like the big thing that ended up happening, but I feel like at one point when he kicked Whitaker, that leg kind of like, am I thinking about the right fight? I don't know. But it kind of like, I don't know. It didn't give out or anything, but you could just tell, I don't know, maybe his leg was affected somehow.
Well, the shocking thing was the fact that Duplessis took down Whitaker. All right, he took down Whitaker with a schoolboy headlock. I mean, grabbed him on his head and just took him down to the mat. I'm like, you go down to that when you've been invited to the Australian, national championship wrestling team? Like, what? You don't go down no schoolboy headlock. But he took him down with that. Got him and elbowed the piss out of him, man. Like, Duplessis did some good things, man, that I was really surprised about. I was really surprised about a lot of the things he did in that fight. So, but then obviously we saw what happened, which we know is going to happen eventually. I think it's like September 10th. Izzy and Duplessis, who's black, who's African, who's not. So
so we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was over the top. You thought it was over the.
It was over the top. That was not necessary at all.
It's going to
no reason for Izzy to do all of that. Duplessis, congratulations. I mean, he deserved his moment. I mean, this man just earned himself a shot at the title. That's a dream that all MMA fighters would love, a shot at the world title. And he comes in there saying the N-word 1,000 times.
Over and over.
Oh, like, okay, congratulations, whatever. I don't know. I know you're supposed to build up the fight, but see, they have been talking trash to each other for the past few months in a way about who's African and who's not African. So, yeah.
Caleb Cameron, player for now no longer a player. He's retired now. He now works in the front office for the Mayhem. Just commented, Tyler Layfield's been hitting the tanning beds. At the beach. 2 straight weeks at the beach will do that for you, or not 2 straight. 2 weeks at the beach will do that for you. I love the tan.
Which beach you went to?
This one was Indian Shores this past week. The other one was Siesta Key. So definitely love it. Definitely love going to those every year. So yeah, great UFC. Now we know a little bit more about your fight coming up. We do this every year. Normally we do it division by division. This year we're just going to go conference by conference, and today we're going to be going over the AFC and the NFL. And I figured no better way to kick this thing off, Torrez, than
Mm-hmm.
by starting off in the AFC North, home of your Pittsburgh Steelers. So in this division, you've got the Bengals, the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Browns. How do you see each of these teams performing this year? And then once we get down to the end of this, let's rank these teams and where we think they kind of shake out when it comes to the end of this season. Start off with your Steelers, though. What do you see them doing this year, and what additions do you like?
Well, this year, I like a lot of the things that the Steelers has done. A lot the drafting that we did this year. I feel like staying along with Kenny Pickett. We already have a really good receiving core. Just trying to still continue to add more things to it. Got a few offensive linemen in front of Najee Harris, which I like a lot.
Yeah.
I actually like the team we have. Our defense is coming back. Our defense has already been really good. We added Patrick Peterson to the mix.
Yep.
So we already have a really solid defense. We got a really good team back there with Minka Fitzpatrick, T.J. Watt, and those boys, Casey Hayward. I just think now we just got to start putting things together. I think we're now getting back to a little bit of the younger side. For the longest, the Steelers have been, amongst one of the older teams because those old guys could still carry the fire. They were still really good, but it can push us over the edge. And I mean, let's be honest with you, it's gonna be hard for us to still get over the edge because there ain't nobody really out there, to be honest, in my opinion, gonna be really compete with the Chiefs like that, straight up. The Chiefs are still the top team
You may
in
be
my.
a little shocked later on.
Chiefs still top team until spoken otherwise. And
Little teaser for you.
I predicted Mahomes to win MVP and win Super Bowl last year, so I stuck with it all the way because I didn't see, like I said,
Wasn't a bad guess.
it wasn't bad exactly.
No.
So, and I'm being honest, I just didn't see. Based off how they had lost to the Bengals the prior year, I just didn't see much of what that was going on, which I would get to the Bengals as well. So, the Steelers are looking really good, but if you want to pick anybody as the favorites in that division, you would say the Bengals, but them Ravens, man, they look packed. Their team,
Yeah.
top to bottom, they look really good. They added a lot of pieces, got Lamar Jackson some receiving core. I feel like we're going to have a really competitive division this year. Usually our division is always competitive, Heck, even last year it was, but even though I know the Bengals still came out on top. You still had the Bengals and Ravens both make the playoffs. Steelers were tight. We were close. Now giving us there's a 7 seed now. Giving an extra team to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be 3, but if there's any conference that could do it, it is the AFC North that is really good at with all the 3 teams that I feel like with the Bengals, Ravens, and Steelers. Browns. They're a sleeper, man. I mean, you got Watson coming back now. You got him for a full season. I mean, trying to think of more of the pieces what the Browns.
They picked up Zadarius Smith from the. I know at one point he was with the Packers. I can't remember if that's the last team he was with. He may have been with the Ravens too recently. I know at one point he was with the Ravens and the Packers. Can't remember which one he came from, but they got him now coming on the edge. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I think they picked back up Joel Bitonio. If they ever lost him, I can't remember if they ever even lost him to begin with. He's an offensive lineman for them, but overall, I mean, who else did they get? I thought they got a wide receiver too. Did they not? I mean, they still got Amari Cooper. They got Elijah Moore. Remember they got him in a trade. So,
right.
He'll be another weapon they could potentially use, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think getting Watson as many weapons as possible, but you giving him that multi-fight. I mean, that big mega. I'm still thinking of fighting that big mega deal that he took, man. I think it hurt the Browns a little bit, trying to get other pieces, but we can see. I mean, look, as long as he can utilize his legs, he's gonna be a tough cat to be able to beat. But I just don't. I just say, man, I if I had to rank the order, being honest, I'm a Steelers.
That's your rank. Go
I love it. I'm gonna go, man. It's hard to pick against the Bengals, man. But them Ravens, man, I don't know. For some reason, I feel like the Ravens in the regular season are just one of those teams that are really hard to beat. They're hard to beat in the regular season, but playoffs, I wouldn't pick them playoffs wise. So I'll go Ravens 1. I'll go Bengals 2, Steelers 3, Browns 4.
Interesting. Ravens 1, Bengals 2, Steelers 3, Browns 4. Is that what I heard?
Yep. I mean,
All
Joe
right.
Burrow that dog, man. Joe Burrow
Yeah,
that dog, man. Back
I'm
AFC championships. I mean,
yeah, I'm about to say I'm not leaving this without putting the Bengals number 1. I've got to keep that the same. That offense is still there. They did lose a piece or two, I know, on the defense. I know the Falcons got one of their safeties this past offseason, so I mean, that could potentially be a big loss for them. But I like they're well coached. The talent is just through the roof on that offense. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Mixon taking a pay cut now to come back. They did lose Samaje Perine, but he wasn't like a huge part of their offense by any stretch of the means. The area I'm struggling is 2 and 3 because I got my 4 the same way. I got the Browns finishing this 4. The last time I think that I really had a good feeling about the Browns was back when your boy Tay Davis was on that team, and he was telling us, how stuff was going on, how they were playing, and all that. Guys, it seemed like they had really good chemistry as a team, and they all kind of had that same mentality, and they had a good defense. The offense was, they just had that grit and grind to them, but it's just hard for me to kind of get behind them right now. I'm not too huge on the Browns this year, but 2 and 3 is where I'm struggling. And really, what it comes down to is I still it's coaching, but I still like John Harbaugh a lot. He's great,
one of the top coaches. Yeah.
yeah, great coach. But you could say the same thing for Mike Tomlin, with the Steelers.
Oh yeah, no question.
I
Yeah,
mean, and really, that's where I'm very tempted to just go Steelers here at 2, but it's just it's tough. It's tough.
So
I'm actually gonna go with it. I'm gonna do Steelers 2, just because y'all somehow always end up staying in the mix. And
we
this year, I
do.
think you've done enough to where
We
you
gonna
can
split.
actually
We gonna
make
split
some
with the
moves.
Ravens. We gonna split with the Ravens. We always
Yeah,
do majority of the time. But
I think
I'm
you
gonna
will.
ask you this: you don't think
Good.
the acquisition for the Ravens of Odell Beckham could potentially leapfrog them above the Bengals?
I haven't seen Odell Beckham in over a year play. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't play at all last year. I mean, sure, route running, yeah, he's probably pretty good. I don't know if he has that same burst anymore. We could see a few games of that. We could see a whole season of it. I'd be shocked if we did. I do like their addition of Zay Flowers. I do like the offensive line acquisitions they made. Morgan Moses, Kevin Zeitler, like those two. Um, but Steelers getting Pat Pete, Joey Porter Jr., an absolute steal, I think, in the
Yeah,
first
he
round,
is.
mind you.
Yeah.
And then Broderick Jones, Darnell Washington. Hey man, you're speaking my language at that point.
I know. That's right. Oh,
You're
I
speaking
forgot.
my language.
We do got
Uh,
Darnell. I forgot all about that.
Dude, I don't know, man. I really like this, and I think even if you could see a reality where Kenny Pickett's a little, he's not quite the quarterback he thought he would be. I think he could do enough to still win you games, and you can run the ball like you said with Najee, because I think that offensive line is going to be better. I don't think that's going to be. It can't be worse. It can't be worse, man. And you got Broderick Jones now. You made some other additions. I think you got a guy from Philadelphia. Their offensive line, they were a great offensive line this past year. Very, very well known for how they block in the run game. And then you get Darnell Washington. If you put him out there, dude, he's an extra freaking offensive tackle out there that can catch passes. I don't see this being any worse. So I think you're going to be able to get the run game going. God only knows y'all always find the wide receivers that you need, to get things done in the passing game.
One
And
of the best teams in the history of the NFL and
That
finding wide.
drafting, that drafting them, man. Y'all always do it. And then Kenny Pickett, we've seen him. He's a gamer.
I
I'll
want
go
to see him
I'll go
perform.
them 2, Ravens 3. So Bengals,
Ooh.
Steelers, Ravens, Browns. That's how I'll take it,
So
man.
you're basically what you're saying is that contract that they gave to the Ravens is going to backfire on them.
I don't know if I would necessarily say that. And this isn't any. I'm about to say something and it may come off wrong. We'll see here. But we know back-to-back national championship Georgia Bulldogs, mind you. Great offensive mind. Hated that he's gone. But when this dude has been in the NFL, his teams that he has called plays for, they pass a lot, but they don't win a lot of games. The Ravens have always been a running team. Like, we've always associated them with being able to run the ball, pound the rock, and then kind of rely on their defense. They still got a pretty good defense. I think they'll still have that. May not be to the degree they've used to have, but still going to be a good defense, I think. But offensively, we're going to see the passing game shoot up. I just don't know if the wins are going to match that, the offensive outburst, if you will. Because I mean, I do think he's going to open up the passing game for Lamar. We're going to see a little bit of side of Lamar we haven't seen yet. And he has gotten the weapons. You talked about it. So, I mean, that's something that's going to come into play. It's just I don't know if it's going to translate to wins. At the end of the day, I trust the coaching staff. I trust the additions that the Steelers made, and I think they can. I think they have the ingredients for this recipe to get some success. That's what I see. I don't know what I know yet. I don't know what the Ravens will be yet. I haven't seen that kind of offense with Lamar Jackson. And there's still some unknowns there. I think I
Yeah.
can rely on the consistency and the known with the Steelers, and that's where I'm going to go with it.
Well, I like your pick. I
Yeah.
solely forgot
Hey.
about Darnell. It's going to allow Kenny Pickett to open up his game a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would like to see Kenny Pickett in a full season. Last year we had to deal with Mason Rudolph and who was Mitch Trubisky. So we had to deal with those guys early on.
What's the guy's name y'all used to have? The duck guy. What's his name?
Delvin Hodges. Delvin
Yeah,
Hodges.
Duck Hodges. I remember that.
Delvin Hodges there.
Y'all had
Hey,
some.
you remember he
some
drove them boy down the field to win the game? I
yeah,
mean, he's done. Dude.
y'all always
He can win with
crazy
anybody.
names.
He can win with anybody.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to take us to the AFC East. You tell me what you think. I'll give my takes first, and then
Oh
you give
Lord,
yours.
here go Kobe's favorite division.
All right, let's get the paper out here, man. I took some notes here. All right, so yeah, Kobe may not really care for where this is going to end up. On this one, and I'm not doing it on purpose. I've given it some thought. All right, so the known we got here, and I'll be shocked if you don't go with this, but I got the Bills at number 1. All right, consistency. Coaching staff still there. Josh Allen's still there. They do now have. I think they brought in Kobe's boy. Damian Harris is coming into town to save the day. He's going to save that. He got him coming in. James Cook.
Quick question, quick interruption. Your pick that year when you called Ramondre Stevenson to have like that breakout year. And I at first I didn't know as much about Ramondre.
I said that.
And when he had that breakout year, I was like, dang, Tyler called him money on and then
I'm not always right, but I'm right some of the time.
Then he wanted to bring up the injuries and Damian, but the production Ramondre had when he got in, heck, he's one of the reasons why I picked him up on fantasy. I was like, this guy.
I like Ramondre. I like Ramondre. I'm still a big believer. There's one unknown coming up there, and we'll get into that. I guess I'll just go ahead and spoil it. But I think I saw the odds have shifted for Dalvin Cook's next landing spot, and Kobe may not be happy with that either. The favorites now to land him are indeed the Patriots, and if that happens, Ramondre's not going to get used as much as I wanted him to. I want that backfield to be his, man. I would prefer Dalvin to land at another spot here, and that's going to be here. I'll bring it up. The last few things I'll say about the Bills, I do like the pickups they made in the draft with O'Cyrus Torrence, great offensive lineman from Florida. He probably won't start this year, but I think he's going to be a great player for them. Dalton Kincaid, the tight end from Utah, I think he's going to be pretty solid for them. They now have him with the other tight end they already had. And then we just know that they're going to have that consistency. The Bills' offense is going to be there. The defense has gotten better over the years. I like them, man. I'll take them as number 1. My number 2 team, and this is where I'll get into the Dalvin Cook, the New York Football Jets. Jets. That's what I'm going to go with. You may be calling me crazy. You may say I'm smoking dope, may say I'm drunk. Ooh. I don't care. I'm going to go with them. And I'll tell you why. They had a great defense last year, one of the best in the league. They just could not do anything offensively. Zach Wilson, he didn't pan out, man. For as much as we thought that he would be some type of a clone of Patrick Mahomes, people were saying things like that with the way he does his throwing motion, all that kind of jazz. It just didn't pan out, and it probably won't. They're going to be on Hard Knocks, so we'll be able to see some stuff behind the scenes with them this year. But they pick up Aaron Rodgers. They get Laken Tomlinson from the San Francisco 49ers. Really like him a lot as offensive lineman. Dwayne Brown on there as well. They already had a pretty good offensive line, honestly. Let's see.
Randall Cobb.
They got Randall Cobb, McCole Hardman, Lazard. They got all these guys. They got these weapons now. People that Rodgers is affiliated with, he knows. And if you go and you get a Dalvin Cook to pair with Breece Hall, who had a little bit of a breakout last year until he tore his ACL, but you go and get that, man, it's hard to bet against these guys. I can see. We've seen Aaron Rodgers do more with less. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
have we not? I mean, he didn't even have that
yeah.
great of offensive line there. I think this might be a better offensive line than he's had in recent years with the Packers. He has Garrett Wilson now to throw to. Garrett Wilson looked really good this past year.
But the question
Um,
is, with a older Aaron Rodgers, we're talking about an Aaron Rodgers that I believe is what 40 now, a 40-year. Oh, he's 39. Take that back. He's 39. So he's on the brink of 40. I think he turns 40. He turns 40 in December. So around the time they're getting ready for playoffs, he'll be 40. With an older guy like Aaron Rodgers, do you think he will be able to carry teams like he used to? I don't think necessarily he has to do too much carrying with this one because he has weapons now. Now that I will say, at times in Green Bay he had a few weapons. He
he
had a few
did, he
weapons.
did. Toward the end there, it was just Devontae Adams, and that's it. Like
That's
that's
right.
how it felt at least.
Right.
You had some running backs, and that's what I'm saying. If they can get Dalvin Cook and have 1-2 punch him and Brees Hall, man, it's hard to bet against it. So I'm kind of in a way. I'm still not going to change my pick. I think that they can land him. If they do land him, that only helps improves my chances here of that actually happening. But I like it. Dolphins. They did give Dalvin Cook. I got them as number 3. They did give Dalvin Cook a contract. He hasn't taken it up to this point. Tua is the big question mark here, and y'all know where I stand on him. Still, he's okay. He's not everything they make him out to be. I think he's been decent, but we obviously know the problems. He can't stay on the field. He can't stay on the field. They got a decent running back. They went and added Devon Achane from A&M, who I know Kobe's going to be a fan of. I know he liked him a lot, and I like him a lot as well. We know the wide receivers, Waddle, guys, Robbie Anderson now, who's changed his name to Robbie Chosen, I want to
Yeah,
say.
it is Robbie Chosen.
Robbie Chosen.
Every Wilson. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the line, I think the offensive line's improved, so maybe they can actually keep Tua upright. It all hinges on him, though. Defensively, I think they've also improved there. Jalen Ramsey now, right? Got some other good people there. I think the
Xavier
pass rush will
Howard,
probably be there. Yeah, Xavier Howard. Yeah, he'll be good. I think they got Javon Holland in the back there at safety.
Bradley
He's solid. Yeah, what'd you say?
Bradley Chubb,
Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Raekwon McMillan. If I'm not mistaken. They got a lot of good, or Raekwon Williams, something like that. It
Davis,
was
Raekwon Davis.
Davis. That's it. But they got a decent team right now. I'm just third. They do have the potential. Obviously, I think Bills, Jets, Dolphins. I could see any 3 of these teams actually making a pretty big run and maybe even vying for Super Bowl potential. I can honestly see it. And then last, I got to put Patriots. Just haven't been a
You don't
ton of
believe in Mac Jones?
It's not that. I don't know. Last year kind of put a damper on things. It's hard to kind of go gung ho with this team after last year. We saw them struggle. I mean, they did the right thing getting rid of Matt Patricia. So that's a positive move forward. They did get a great pick in Christian Gonzalez in the draft. Still got Matthew Judon, these kinds of guys. I mean, just hasn't been a lot to get me going. I don't know, like it. So if I had to pick a fourth, I mean, I feel like they kind of have to be fourth, but I'm willing to hear your opinion here. What you got?
To be honest with you, that entire AFC is pretty loaded.
Mm-hmm.
It's loaded from
Yeah,
everyone. So
it is.
there's a lot of guys that you can really make a case for overall. But like you say with the Patriots. I mean, you like you said, you have Ramondre Stevenson. I like the Juju pickup. I think he'll fit.
Juju. That's what I meant to say, not Judon. Juju.
Yeah, I think he'll fit the system for what New England. So when Juju was in Pittsburgh, he was more of a guy. Yeah, he could really block his tail off. Juju is a really good
Yeah.
blocking wide receiver, and then obviously he make those hard catches. I think Juju's going to really fit the system really well for these boys. And then they got Devontae Parker, who came from the Dolphins. So, they got a few guys. Hunter Henry. I mean, according to Cole thinks they're going to have a much better season this year. So
Nothing
I've
sexy
been
on
I've
that.
been working out the last few weeks as well. So I think
I hope he's right for his sake. We'll see. I'm not hearing anything that's really perking my ears, man. I'm really not.
and I mean that's a tough division. I mean
Yeah.
you got to, but you got to remember now they had an opportunity to make the playoffs last year. They just folded some games. What was the game?
Yeah.
They dropped the ball at the end of the game. The guy ran it back. Was that against the Raiders? Who was that
Oh
against?
yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the exact one, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so Patriots they were right there in the head, and then it came down to them having to beat the Bills to make the playoffs, I
Yeah.
believe. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. That division is going to be tough. I like the number one team division would be the Buffalo Bills. I trust the Bills a little bit, man. I do trust the Bills a little bit. I think they got a team that is Super Bowl worthy, but I just don't know if I can really push them to reason. I don't know what it is with Buffalo because Buffalo, to me, if you had to look at it from last year, if you looked at it on paper, you would have thought, okay, this is the team to really do something. And at home to get absolutely throttled by the Bengals, man. I mean, the score don't really tell how bad that game they played. The Bills did not play good at all. But they got a lot of good guys coming back. James Cook, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. Dawson Knox. So they got some guys. They got some solid guys on defense as well. Ed Oliver, Tre'Davious White,
Von
Micah
Miller.
Hyde, Von Miller. And then that is also another key thing that I have to do bring up,
Can he
which
stay
hurt them in
healthy?
that playoff is yes, he got hurt. Having that pass rush is they brought in Von Miller mainly for a guy like Joe Burrow, a guy like Patrick Mahomes. They know in those playoff circumstances they're going to be going against those high level quarterbacks, and the best way to beat these high level quarterbacks is what you got to disrupt them with the pass rush. They didn't have that because Von Miller was hurt. So it is going to be interesting to see what these guys are able to bring to the table. But the number two team, that is where I come up in a mix up. I know you said you had the Jets number two.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a bolder statement.
And no, I don't think so. Be honest with you, I actually slightly I can see both sides. Trusting in Aaron Rodgers to bring something to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is still that guy, but Aaron Rodgers did struggle a little bit last year.
He did.
Um, Now, yes, you're gonna blame that old man. He didn't have certain weapons. I understand. Yes, he got weapons now,
Yeah.
but I don't trust Aaron Rodgers as much as I did. If this was 2016, 17, 18, then my tone would have changed. But I think we're on the latter part of his career, and I watched a little bit of Aaron Rodgers games last year, and Aaron Rodgers did not. He didn't. You can see a little bit of the fall off. You can see
Yeah.
that it ain't the same. Very similar to like Brady. When we saw Brady like what last year, like we knew it was like, oh, he still can do the magic here and there, but you're watching, you're like, he ain't got it no more.
Hmm.
Like I don't want to play with this toy anymore. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel about Aaron Rodgers right now. I don't feel like he got the it factor. So that's why I'm gonna pick the Dolphins at the two. I do. Tua will have to stay healthy. That's a big piece to the entire puzzle for the Miami Dolphins. He has to stay healthy. They have the weapons on offense. They got the pieces on defense. As I said last year, as I'm going to say this year, no more excuses for Tua Tagovailoa. He has all the pieces to the puzzle. And yeah, him being a two seed is really good for them. Especially in the AFC East. They should make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They should. I don't think it's any more of a oh my gosh, he made the playoffs. Let's give him a clap hands. It gets to the
Yeah.
point where
You're
you
expected.
should. It's expected. Like the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs type. We expect you to make the playoffs, buddy. It's about what you're doing it now. And I think Tua is at that rate now. If people want to talk about Tua in that type of realm, if you want to put him up there with the higher echelons of all these type guys, then we got to start judging him that way. And I know he's had to deal with a few injuries and things, but he did start the season off really good last year. He had the highest rated QBR than any quarterback, I think, in his first 5 or 6 games. He had the most touchdowns. He was playing phenomenal. But
Hmm.
you know, this is one of those break. If he stays healthy, it's one of those do or die years. Like I need to see you in the playoffs, and I need to see you performing well in there. You don't necessarily have to win the Super Bowl. I ain't saying they got to win the Super Bowl. They ain't got to necessarily. They don't even have to make it to the AFC Championship. But I have to see them be in the playoffs, and I have to see them start doing some good things. They got too good of a team not to do it. And my third team is the Jets.
All
So
right.
going Bills, Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots.
All right. Yeah. So we just switched Jets and Dolphins. That's it. Okay. I'll let you get your pick. Do you want AFC South or AFC West?
I'm gonna go AFC West, AFC
Of
South.
course you are.
I go
Because who
AFC
wants the
West.
AFC South, man? Because who wants that crap?
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. That whole division, boy.
Atrocious.
Good gosh, the talk about a stacked AFC, and then you see that division.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. All right. Well, take us through the AFC West then. Let me hear how you got. I already know you're number one because you already
I
told
mean,
me you're number
I mean,
one.
is it hard? I mean,
I
is it
don't
hard?
know. We'll find out.
I mean, we're talking about the team that's Super Bowl champions that got a lot of their pieces that came back. I don't see. I ain't be honest with you. I don't see the Chiefs struggling too much. I can see the Chiefs winning like what we have 17 games. Uh, 13-4. Wouldn't be surprised to see 12-5 like they were last year. 13-4. Give me the Chiefs at 13-4.
Okay.
They got a phenomenal team, man. The reason why I know about this because I had Isaiah Pacheco as one of my running backs, and man, you talking about a
He looks
fantasy
good.
helper, man. He was big.
Has a
I
hurt
like.
shoulder right now, though.
What'd you say?
He's dealing with a hurt shoulder at the moment.
I mean, okay, about the time week 5, week 6 pack up, that's what about the time I need them. That's
Yeah.
about the time I
Yeah.
need them. But I mean, they still got a lot of good weapons. I mean, they got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. When he plays, I mean, he runs the ball really hard and he looks really good in there, man.
I don't know about that. Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Yes,
I don't know. I didn't see.
he's had a few games where he's broken out. I mean, it's not been consistent because he had to deal with all these other guys. Jerick McKinnon, like you saw how.
Now McKinnon did a little better than him. Edwards-Helaire was not good last year, though. I will not.
Okay,
Sit around
okay. Wait a minute.
I will not sit around and say that he was awful.
Hold up.
He was drafted in the first round. I know the pedigree is there. He was good at LSU, but with the Chiefs, he has not been good.
Okay, what are we basing this off of? Because
play on the field play. The stats will probably back me up on it too.
I don't know, man. To be a
what
third,
stats? Read it out.
I mean, in the regular season, okay, he started 6 games, he played in 10. To be a third string running back, all right, he had 302 yards rushing. Okay, 300. Huh?
He was picked in the first round. He's supposed to be your first.
You got two beasts in front of you. What are you talking about? And then in 2020, he had a really solid season as a rookie. He ain't. I mean, okay, look. So here we go again with this draft. All right, you have to. What are you? Tyler, what are we looking at?
Babying these boys. You're babying.
All right. Let me say this. Say this. All right, he is a good role player. All right, I give him that. He plays his role.
He's like virtually unplayable. They did not want to play this dude at all.
Probably not last year, but when his first year he came in, he was solid for him. The next year, he even had just as good of a year. Now, this past year, he dealt with a lot of injuries, but I'm not going to sit here and say Clyde Edwards-Helaire was nothing. I think he's a solid role player. I'll give it to him. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, 3 receiving touchdowns, 17 receptions, 151 yards. I mean, I think he had a solid okay year. Then
I digress.
Then he had a 52-yard run. I mean, he's an okay year.
All right, move on from this. I'm not calling
him freaking. I ain't calling him Barry Sanders. I'm just saying he's a solid role player. I brought him up because
I'm done. I'm agreeing to disagree.
No. I remember this. No, I remember this.
Remember it.
There were times last year.
Remember it.
There were times last year when guys like Pacheco and McKinnon got hurt, and they had to depend on him. And they can do. He did a lot of good things for them coming out of the backfield. I do remember that because I watched one of the games for it. That's all I'm saying. That's all.
Right. Leave it at that. There you go. You got the last word. Go ahead.
So also we have Kadarius Toney. That's a big pickup for the Kansas City Chiefs, man. To bring him in, I know they let go of Juju, and a lot of people last year kept saying that they didn't think Mahomes would be too good because he didn't have a receiving core. But as I told everyone, Mahomes did not need Tyreek Hill to be who he is, and I said that from the beginning. I still stand by that. I know a lot of people disagreed, but I just from looking at Patrick Mahomes, the way he was throwing the ball, I mean, the stuff he could do. If you just have even an accountable receiver to be able to catch some of the balls he throws, he's going to be all right. Obviously, you got Travis Kelce. I mean, their team is still really solid. The defensive end is the side that you worry about a little bit. They're not as potent on the defense as you would think, but they still got some names. They got Willie Gay, Chris Jones. They got some names I don't know too much of. I do remember Nick Bolton, but that's about it. From the, Justin Reed. So they have Chiefs on defensive end anyway last year, but
Yeah.
they picked it up a lot with offense. So we have to see how their defense come through next year. So I got Chiefs 1,
All
2.
right.
This is gonna be interesting because
Oh, it shouldn't be interesting. This should be easy.
you think the Chargers should be automatic?
Oh, for sure.
Mm.
Boy, you done lost your mind. I'm about to pull out the
Mm.
Stanley from the office.
Hey, look. I am gonna pick the Chargers. I am,
Oh my god.
but I'm gonna say, do not sleep on them Raiders. Do not sleep on them.
I'm absolutely hibernating.
You gonna sleep on Jimmy G. You gonna sleep on Josh Jacobs.
Oh my god.
Oh no! Come on, man!
Oh my god. I cannot
Come
believe
on! What are
this.
you talking
This is a
about?
conversation right now.
Oh
Oh
my
my
God! You gonna sleep on
god.
Devontae Adams?
Jimmy G and Josh.
Oh my
I
God!
can. I guess I can. I'll give Josh Jacobs his credit. He did do good last year, but we don't. I mean, at this point, he's been holding out. He may not. I mean, there's a legit chance that he might sit games this year, just to prove a point. I'm being serious right now, because I think it was today. Today was the deadline for him and Saquon. Neither of them got any deal done with their team. They're both on the franchise tag, and they're trying to make a statement that they're not going to play without contracts. So we'll see. But we'll get into this here in a second. You said Chargers 2, and
Raiders.
where else were you going? You said Raiders 3.
I got Raiders 3, then Denver 4. Yes.
All right.
I
Anything you want to say about those last two teams besides
let me
Jimmy
tell you something
G
about
and?
Denver, man. I am not sold on Russell Westbrook. Exactly.
Oh, I'm not sold on him either.
I'm not, hey, you're right. I am not sold on Russell Wilson at all, man.
Yeah.
Him and Westbrook about play the same in their respective sports. Wilson is falling off of me, man. I've said it once he left. I didn't even believe in them when he did get to Denver. I said they still won't have the it fact. I know they got Jared Judy. I know they got some really good pieces off. I know they got the what's the D in
Who are you talking about? It's hang
she
on, right?
Bradley Chubb.
No, remember he's
That's
with
right.
he's
That's
in
right.
Miami now. He's in
Man,
Miami now.
I forgot who they got there. I really don't know too much on their defensive end anyway.
Okay.
Denver used to be known for the
They got
defense.
Pat Surtain from
Pat
Alabama.
Surtain, okay, yeah,
He's
Pat
good.
Surtain.
Hey,
He is good. I like the Raiders defense a little bit better, man. I like Chandler Jones. I like Max Crosby.
I like Crosby.
I like Robert Spillane. You know, he came from Pittsburgh, man. He had a phenomenal season in Pittsburgh. So I like their boys better a little bit than and then I like the offense for the Raiders. I think the Raiders can put the pieces together. I do.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do some challenging this year. I don't say, oh my gosh, they're going to make an incredible playoff run or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the playoffs, but I do see them as the third seed. I think there's a team you have to respect. You know, you're going to have a few of those 10-7, 9-8 teams, 8 and 9 teams that you got to respect. I feel like the Raiders going to be one of those type of teams.
Okay. All right. So you had rank them again. You said Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, right?
Yes.
All right. Are you ready for some action here?
I am.
I'm about to blow your mind, man. I'm about to blow your mind because we differ on a few different teams.
A few.
I'm going to start off with a bang from the jump. I got the Chargers number 1, baby. I got the Chargers number 1, and this is why. When you hold on, and I'm not trying to discredit because I understand. You know, reigning champions, you ought to give them the credit to go ahead on the from the start. They should have that respect, everything like that. And I do. I'm not trying to discount them in any way. I do think they could still make a major play. But man, I really like where the Chargers are going, and I like the moves they've made. For me, it starts with the offensive coordinator, and that's my first move. Kellen Moore coming from the Dallas Cowboys to be the offensive coordinator for Justin Herbert in this offense. I think that's going to make major moves for this offensive team. They already got your boy Staley, right?
They got Staley. They got two of the coaches that was on the coaching staff when I was there. They got Tom Arth, who is now the quarterback coach, and then they got there's a defensive coach now that is also there. Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
I
like Kellen Moore to begin with as the offensive coordinator. He's a really good offensive mind. You give them the weapons. You got Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. They go and get Quentin Johnson in the draft from TCU, absolute burner, who's been making waves at these things over the offseason. On top of that, I really like where they've gone with the offensive line. We already saw Rashawn Slater last year. He made good moves at left tackle. They got Corey Linsley at center. Jamari Sawyer, our boy from UGA. Really like him. Trey Pipkins has done pretty decent for him. Like the offensive line. Still got Gerald Everett. Outside of those top three wide receivers, you still got Jalen Guyton. He's a burner down the side. Joshua Palmer's decent. I like the offense, and I think there's enough weapons there for Kellen Moore to really cook. Defensively, they were already an okay team. They still got Khalil Mack, Kenneth Murray, if you remember when he played for Oklahoma, pretty good. Eric Kendricks, former linebacker from the Vikings. He's a fast linebacker. I like him a lot. Still got Bosa, Asante Samuel, Derwin James. Man, I'm liking where they're at. And I think with the offense, the defense isn't going to have to play out of their minds. I think they're going to win games, dude. I really think they're going to win a good bit of games. And this offense is going to be high flying. I'm putting a lot of stock into them. You read out the Chiefs. I'm putting them at 2. I know you talked about it. You said that it's pretty much the same. Well, they did lose Juju. They did lose McCole Hardman. Those are 2 guys they lost. Offensive line is still pretty straight. Like you said, I like Isaiah Pacheco. Of course, we all like Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce. We know the brand names, right? Mm-hmm. Like all them. It's just wide receiver wise, and I know he can do a lot with less. But man, I wish they could have given him, at least some big name to be able to throw to. I mean, it's Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Didn't really do that great last year. Sky Moore didn't really have a great, rookie year. We'll see how this kind of plays. I know they got Rashee Rice in the draft. It's not blowing me away. It's just not blowing me away.
Let's be honest. I mean, this roster feels very 2013, 2014-esque when they had Alex Smith, and they still were making it very far to AFC.
They were doing good, and then you replace Alex Smith with Pat Mahomes. I mean, I'm with you. I'm just not blown away at it, and I don't know if they're going to finish number 1 in this division. And I'm not saying that to say that they aren't the best team. I just don't know. I could see LA putting it all out there, really going for the records, wins. Let's stack it up. Let's get, let's make that push. And I think they got the motivation. I think they made the additions they needed to get them to that point. But I do like the Chiefs. They got Donovan Smith, new left tackle, formerly was blocking for Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. They got the consistency factor. And one other thing kind of is a negative little impact here. And it may have gone under the radar, but Matt Nagy coming back to offensive coordinator. He's put just a stink. Like, there's just a stink on him now from his time in Chicago. And not to say that, he's going to be making all the moves with this offense. It's going to come down to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes could probably go out there and make the plays himself and be fine. But I don't know. That one kind of, I don't know. Eric Bieniemy to me is a better offensive coordinator than him.
Oh, no question. Eric Bieniemy. No question.
So I don't really like that. Andy Reid's still going to have his play in the mix. I'm not saying that's a major thing, but I'm just saying it's a little bit of a negative. Number 3, I'm going Broncos. 2 words for you here, Torrez. Sean Payton coming in to be the head coach. That's why I'll take him. Not a big Josh McDaniels guy. That's just me. I'm not a big Josh McDaniels guy with the Raiders. But they got Sean Payton. They went and got Samaje Perine to back up Javonte Williams. No, that's not a major thing, but he's a pretty solid backup running back. Marvin Mims, they drafted him from Oklahoma, good wide receiver. Went and got Mike McGlinchey, great right tackle from the San Francisco 49ers, former Notre Dame Fighting Irish. You got Drew Sanders, outside linebacker that played for Arkansas this past year. Transferred from Alabama, really good edge rusher. Like him a lot. Frank Clark from the Chiefs, they got him now down there on the defensive line. Kareem Jackson, I like the moves they made. They're in a win now mode just because of the trade they did with Russell Wilson. They got no choice but to go out here and they're going to have to try to win games, man. And I think it's going to be a lot easier with a better coach and with the upgrades they've made. Raiders, like I said, I'm not a big Josh McDaniels guy. They got Jimmy G. I'm not jumping through hoops about this. I'm not. And have you not heard the thing that they restructured his contract so that they could cut him without paying any money to him? I can't remember the exact specifics, but they restructured his contract to where they could just release him and not really take much of a hit if he isn't healthy. Because right now he's still not all the way back yet from his injuries. But one addition I did like that they got was the tight end from Notre Dame this past year, Michael Mayer. I liked him, so I'll give you a good positive on that. And they do got Josh Jacobs, so I'll give you those. And I like Max
And
Crosby. I like
so
Max Crosby.
I'm gonna ask you this, so because this is very funny to me. I'm a little bit more sold on Jimmy G having a better season than Russell Westbrook. Now that is dependent on.
Russell Westbrook again. Russell Wilson.
Dude, I don't know why I keep saying Westbrook. Dude. I don't know why. I am so much in a basketball fan. Yes, Russell
We've been
Wilson.
talking basketball for a while now.
We have. But yes, I really do believe that, and I actually would be right. Jimmy G would have a better season than Russell Westbrook. But I do think Jimmy G will have a better season than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, to me, like I say, I believe in Josh Payton. I think I'm not Josh Payton, Sean Payton. He's a good coach, but I don't necessarily believe him with the Denver Broncos. I just don't. I don't know if that's enough for me. I know what he did in New Orleans. I know what, but you got to remember those last few years. Like those boys struggled. I mean, struggle. Now you can say he probably didn't have the same weapons as what he got now. Yes, these weapons are better, but
I still believe in him.
out of all those years, I know how hard it is to win.
Enough to finish third in this division. I really think that it's enough to finish third in this division.
I mean, okay.
I'm not calling playoffs for these guys, but I think third.
I wouldn't. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad thing. That's what people got to understand. Like he's in there with Kansas City and the Chargers. Chargers is going to be a tough team. Like I agree on a lot of your points. I actually think the Chargers will split with the Chiefs this year. I think they will. But I know some of those coaches that are there. I know them inside and out. And when things get warm. When things get hot, they start jumping off the pan. So like I don't want to. They ain't the best guys under pressure. That's all I'm gonna say. So we saw it last year.
Doing your boys dirty.
Final few games.
Doing your boys dirty.
Yes, we know what. We saw what that head coach did in those final few games last year when the game mattered. We saw what happened down 24-0. Like we saw. So
I'm going to buy. They struggled with a lot of injuries last year. I will say that. I'm not trying to take up for them, but I know that was one thing that they did struggle with. So hopefully they can battle that out this year and get through it. You ready for the last division, AFC South?
Yes, AFC South.
Shouldn't take long. I'll go ahead and crank through mine real quick, and then you give yours. I think this one's an obvious. I'm going to number one Jaguars. They added Ridley. They got some consistency. I think Trevor Lawrence takes a leap this year. They got Travis Etienne, pretty good receivers. Christian Kirk had a good year. I like where they're at kind of. Defense can be decent. So they looked a lot better under Doug Peterson. So I'll take them to come out number one in this division this year. I think they have that to play for, and I think they will shoot for that. Number two, I got the Titans. With the recent addition of DeAndre Hopkins, tag him up with Treylon Burks, Chig Okonkwo, Derrick Henry, the simple ingredients to that Titans offense. And we know they're going to have a pretty good defense under that head coach. What's the head coach's name? I do like him a lot. He's blanking me right now. The old linebacker for the Patriots.
Yeah.
What's his name? It ain't Teddy Bruschi. Who is it?
It's Mike something. I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, hang on. I got you. Hang on. It is Mike Vrabel. You were right.
I know Mike something. Yeah. When I train, I get punched on, and I'll be thinking about stuff all the time. I'll be like,
yeah. So I like the Titans to at least finish second here. I like the coaching they have. Vrabel's proven himself to be a good coach. He has done that in his time in Tennessee. He knows the ins and outs. He knows the little things he has to do to try to win, and I think he can do it. They do got some consistency there, so I'll take them to finish second. Then we get into the two kind of reconstructing teams in this. You could also, I guess, kind of throw the Titans in there, but I think they have enough veteran presence to where they can still kind of shoot for playoffs if they want. Mm-hmm. But we got the Texans and the Colts. I got them in that order, 3 and 4. Both going under some change at QB, going with some rookie quarterbacks. Texans going and picking up C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson. They got a wide receiver from Iowa State that I really liked, Xavier Hutchinson. Tank Dell from the University of Houston, another wide receiver. They went and got Denzel Perryman, good linebacker free agent. Jimmy Ward, former safety, I want to say he was with the 49ers. And then last but not least, they went and got DeMeco Ryans to be their next head coach, former defense coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, who did a stand-up job while he was there. Great defensive mind, and I do think he can do enough to get that defense right, to stay in games and to scheme the right way they need to in order to come out with a victory, each week. The main thing they have to kind of work on is the offense, though. So we'll see how they kind of go around with that. They do have John Mechie coming back this year. I do still believe in Nico Collins. Regardless of what people say, I really do like CJ Stroud. I don't know how high I'm willing to like put him as far as like what my expectations are, but I mean I watched this dude live in that Peach Bowl. He's got some good stuff, man. He really does. He gave Georgia the absolute best game we've seen from a quarterback all last year, I want to say. So he did prove himself in a big game. It's just they didn't come out victorious. So I mean I think they have the pieces there to at least do some decent stuff this year, just have a stepping stone year to where they can build off of that for the next year. And then the Colts go out and get AR-15, Anthony Richardson from the University of Florida, a guy that he's got real bust potential, boom bust potential.
Yes,
it could either really go good or really go bad. So we're going to see where it goes. He's got the tangibles, you could say, to really be successful. Big, fast, strong, athletic. You can use all these adjectives to describe this man. They obviously
many quarterbacks in history.
Yeah, they still got Jonathan Taylor, still got Michael Pittman, still got Quentin Nelson. There's still some good players on that team. Defensively, they still got Darius Leonard, still got some okay guys on the defense. And then they also went and got Josh Downs, wide receiver from North Carolina. I do like him, but I'm just not really out of all these teams. That's the coach I probably trust the least, and that's the team I probably trust the least. So that's the reason I got to rank them 4. But that's mine: Jaguars, Titans, Texans, Colts. Do you differ anywhere in that range?
We have the same exact one.
Oh, nice.
I was conflicted between the Titans and the Jaguars because I know how well Mike Vrabel actually coaches his team.
Yeah.
Like every year the Titans sometimes they do better than expected. They
do.
And they'll upset a team that you don't expect. They'll go beat the Bills and go beat the Chiefs, but then they'll go lose to the Colts, or they'll go lose to the worst team in the league. So like they'll play that game. And the reason I live here in Tennessee, so I can listen to Titan fans. We can beat the best teams in the league, but then we lose to all these which is what they actually do. It's very Falcon-esque in a way. Like the Falcons, they'll play against the best teams, and you're like, oh man, they Falcons look good. Then you go see them play the worst team, you're like, you just blown a 25-point lead against this thing. You don't know what you're going to get. So that's how I am with the Titans. I do trust more Trevor Lawrence. I feel like that playoff experience for him last year was big for him. You can only grow on that type of stuff, man. And like you said, a lot of the pieces that they got, I trust into the coach. What was coach's name? He's coaching Philadelphia, which is the Jaguars coach. Joe Peterson, yeah. So I really do like Joe Peterson. I respect him a lot. Doug Peterson, I'm sorry. I do respect him a lot. And give me Jaguars, give me Titans. Hopefully they get Derrick Henry, on all 4s with him. Because I heard a few things about him. I know that they just bring in DeAndre Hopkins, so that's be good. But I did just see a post that all these wide receivers that go to the Titans, their career goes to crap. Julio, Randy Moss, another one they showed as well. So but we'll see because DeAndre actually had a solid season last year, so we'll see. And then, like you said, with the Texans, it depends on what they're garnering for. I was surprised that. Well, not necessarily wasn't too surprised, but they got CJ Stroud, so they did what they best that they could. I'm probably sure anybody would have wanted Bryce Young instead, but but they did what they did, and we'll see how it gets built. I'm not too sold on them at all either. Those final 2 teams between the Texans and the Colts, they can be easily interchangeable. But I'm not too sold on either one of those teams. But we'll see. It's a building. It's a growth. Eventually, one day, we'll be like, okay, now CJ Stroud is that guy, hopefully. But it'll take some time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap this up for today. Thank you guys for listening in. It's always a pleasure. We do appreciate it. If you want to support the show in any way, you go to if you're listening to the podcast later on, you just go to the description, click on the Linktree link, and you can support us in a variety of different ways. We appreciate all the likes, the shares, the retweets, you guys joining us today through the live. Make sure next time to get on through millions, though, and join us live that way, so that way we can see your comments up on our screens instead of having to look back and forth on Facebook. But
That's right.
needless to say, we do enjoy having you guys listen. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Boom, boom.